All right then. So that's the part when I was telling you, dude wasn't paying the rent. So and he's straight baller in the street type dude. So one day when I couldn't take it, like when for like 5 or 6 months, I wasn't even telling my boy that we having altercations about this rent. Like it was days we'd come to the house and dude that physically then took the locks off. Talking about, hey man, y'all gotta go, man. Old boy ain't paid me no rent, man, and da 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 wah wah. Cause dude was hustling that we was renting from, but he had started smoking the dope too. And that's when my Kansas street savvy came in. That's why I survived too, because what I went through in the streets, I recognized that. So, all right then, so boom. So now, long story short, dude kept tripping about the rent, and we was going. It was like my boy. I never told him that. So I'm going through this for 5 or 6 months, and while he going on tour on TV, BET, like I ain't never be like, hey man, your boy been tripping. Cause soon as he come back, we back to my demo. You feel me? So one day we came to the house and dude had the whole neighborhood out looking at us crazy. And that was my last straw too, cause I've been trying to contain my hood shit the whole time too. So now I'm at my last straw, like, nah man, bro, you tripping, man. I don't know what's going on. So I called my boy, hey man, your boy done flipped the spot. Come to the house. So while he was coming to the house, we was out in the yard waiting. So when my boy pulled up, so I wanted to know if my boy was paying rent too. So soon my boy pulled up. He's like, his partner was like, hey man, you ain't been paying me the rent. So he didn't want to discuss it in front of everybody. So we went next door to the duplex. So my boy was like, hey man, you didn't pay me the rent. So my boy say something, and then he'll say something. So I'm looking at my boy, and I'm looking at him. I'm looking at my boy. I'm looking at him. My boy, he didn't even argue with him. He's like, hey, all right then, you say I didn't pay you? We moving right now. I was like, all right then, you moving right now? Okay, then cool. Go on back to your job, and I'm going to handle this. So when dude left, he went back to his gig. So for the next 5 or 6 hours, when we say we moving, we start moving right then. So I started taking everything out in the front yard, unloading everything. But now, only thing I had with me was my box of rhymes, my drum machine, and my son, right? And my partner, who I was producing, he had a white girl that we used to be with every day. He had imported from Kansas. And when I look back at it, I should have took her with me too. You feel me? So we ended up, while he over there in Hollywood doing his band thing, we moving everything into the yard. So the dude who was our landlord, which was his partners, that was the day he might have smoked his whole key that day. So now he tripping, talking about, hey man, why don't y'all just go ahead and leave, man? Why don't y'all just go ahead and leave, man? Come back and get the stuff tomorrow. It'll be here. So he kept on telling us to leave, but we want to leave. And I was like, hey man, we leaving, but we not leaving this equipment. So he was still getting irritated. So he's probably smoking, going over there smoking. So at one point he went and got his gun, pulled his gun out. He was talking about, hey man, how you standing at the door? So picture you standing at the door right now, and I'm walking out with boxes, and you standing at the door, and you looking at me talking about, hey man, how you gonna regulate my house? And I was like, hey man, we getting out of your house, but we not leaving this equipment. Calm down. I was you know what I'm saying? So the white girl that was helping us move too. So I went outside and put something in the yard. So she was still in the house. So she came running up out that door. Like a crazy horse. Like I guess he must have told her some shit like, hey man, you better get up. Same thing he told me. So when I seen her running out the door, I was like, man, you better get back in that house and finish getting this stuff, cause we not leaving this equipment and stuff. That's how loyal I was to my boy, and I had to get that music, cause that was my whole reason of moving out here for spur of the moment like that. Cause when we first met up, he was talking about we gonna split this publishing 50-50. So 50-50 of a zillion, I'm about to have half of a zillion when we ever get to the thing. And 5 or 6, this has been a 5 or 6, 7 year process. And so now, so we ended up getting to the yard, dude coming up. So at the end of the night, we all just sitting there like, we don't know where we gonna go. And my boy, he on tour, so he gotta go. So he gotta go back on tour again. So the next morning, I'm like, hey man, go ahead, go on your tour, and we gonna handle this. So now, we got to take all the stuff in the storage. So we putting everything in the storage. So we ended up going checking in some hotels. So the first hotel I went to was the Figueroa Hotel on Figueroa in the Hood. I don't know nothing about this. The same time I'm checking in, a rat was checking in too. And so we stayed in this hotel. So the white girl got her own room, and I got my own room. But the white girl kept on coming over my room because she was scared. Because she an all-American white girl on Figueroa. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I ain't trying to be in no room with her. You feel me? If I could go back all over this again, man, I would have took over everything. But I'm still thinking the respectable way, big brother, this girl. But man, he was cheating on everybody. So then, so he ended up going out of town when he came back. So then we were sitting in the car. I was like, hey man, I was like, so that was my decision if I'm gonna go home back. Cause I could have just went back home and went back and fell back in place. And so I was like, man, just take me to the shelter. But first I called the shelter. Cause I remember the girl who I dealt with and in the streets, all the people she was from California. So the whole time they was always doing them county building hustles. And I never really, you know, you be in your subliminal when your friends is doing stuff, but you don't ever really pay attention to it. So I called the county building, told them what happened. Hey man, I was staying with my partner. I was paying rent. They kicked me out the house. You know, I don't know what to do. And so the lady at the county building, she's like, hey man, they can't kick you out the building like that. They gotta go through a whole process and and whoop whoop whoop. Cause she was saying I gotta be able to prove that. I'm like, man, I'm not going back down there with them niggas, man. You feel me? I done told you what happened.